Hi, it's Mike from Gear Diary, and here today to take a look at a new set of DVD instructional sessions called How to Play Slap Bass, or Learn to Play Slap Bass in 6 weeks. Now, this is week 1. This is a pretty monster set. You've got not 1, 2, 3, but actually all 6 are individual DVDs, and they're all laid out by bassist Phil Williams, who's a studio bassist and really sought after guy, heavy technical dude. And the thing with having a 6-week course like this is week 1, as you can see here, so you've got things that you're doing: an introduction, a brief history, and then you really get into things. You get into the equipment. So you have 3 chapters. You get into basses to use, amps to use, settings, how to really tweak it for the best sound, which is really an important thing if you want it to sound good. Now, what is slap bass? And even before we look at this thing, have you ever wondered how these guys doing funk bass do something like something like that, just to, get it. So that's just a basic technique. And there's thumb, kind of use slapping. It's a whole history going back to the acoustic double bass, early funk players, Sly and the Family Stone back in the 60s. And through some of the jazz fusion guys, Stanley Clarke, Marcus Miller, even John Entwistle, if you listen to some of the Who stuff live. Although if you watch him play, he tends to play a lot more with his fingers, kind of dancing that way. It's still the same basic technique, and what you're really doing, he described his as more trying to do it the way a hammer would strike on a piano, whereas somebody like Larry Graham from Sly and the Family Stone did it to really sound like a drum kit, basically. Lay down the time. And there you get kind of your bass drum, snare drum type of thing, but going with a melodic element to it. So it's a really funky way of doing things. Now, there's a ton of techniques that are laid out in here, and let me just re-enable the sound, and let's get right into thumb technique, open string exercises. So that's really just the beginning.
Okay, here we go. Let's learn the basics of slap bass playing.
We'll just listen to Phil for a
What we're going to do is we're going to learn your basic right hand thumb hit and some muting with your left hand. We're going to go through some exercises. They're very simple, just get the target practice together. Now, the basics involved with this style. Let's just get these sorted out first. You're going to be hitting the string, your E string, or any of the strings in fact, right where the neck joins the body. Okay? You're going to hit it with this part of your thumb, which is the bony part of your thumb here. I'm going to use the thumb upwards technique as opposed to the thumb down technique, which some bass players use, okay? So we're going to get our arm kind of at this level with the bass, so it...
And the interesting thing is depending on how you hit it, so if you hit it there, you hit it down this side, it's much more percussive. You get a lot. You can tell I just actually knocked a harmonic intentionally with that one to get. You can really get some overtones when you're playing on here because you're actually in the active part of the fretboard. Move to the other side of the pickup, and you're in the point where the strings are much tighter. So that's why Flea and a lot of the rock basses tend to slap down here. get more of the melodic guys trying to go for as many overtones and a richness of sound, will tend to hit it right up here. My teaching was actually more in the middle, so to be more in here, not get as much fret noise off of here, but still get some of the overtones by being in that region.
Your arm follows the con up the neck of the bass, kind of right angle. Okay, with this style, you're obviously going to need to have this hand here for damping, okay? And what I want to do is have your hand around about the 6th fret here. There is a...
So, and the interesting thing with this technique, or this instructional method, with having it again, it's 1 week at a time, there's a depth that Phil is really applying here, which is greater than, say, some of the other courses where you'd have like everything you need to know in a single DVD. In that case, you would be going through things much more quickly. Here he's actually giving you, okay, let's position the hand this way, let's get yourself that way, let's really get it set up, let's go into some depth on just how you're getting yourself set. By the end of this 6-week course, you'll really know really well how to play. And so, again, taking these things, all of these different techniques, and again, you're really getting pops in there, you get some ghost notes, you get specific players, Mark King, Stanley Clarke, Marcus Miller, funk, jazz, rock, bassists of all sorts, and really be able to get into the depth of the technique, so that when you come out through this video series, you can take your established bass technique, assuming that you do have at least a little bit of technique, and all of a sudden you have a whole new arsenal. So even if you're still just playing kind of a normal pluck style bass, you can occasionally pull out, a pop or something like that. You can really just figure out, okay, what is going to give me a real kind of sneak attack, percussive style that's going to really add something to my music. Or if you really want to go into the funk, jazz, rock style with a real percussive bass, you've got this whole technique at your disposal. So again, learn to play slap bass in 6 weeks. Mike from Gear Diary, thanks for watching.